Hello, children. Today, let's start with the lesson Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. This chapter has been taken from Nelson Mandela's book of the same name, Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. It provides us a glimpse of the early life of Nelson Mandela, his education, 30 years in prison, and the pains he had suffered in his young age. The chapter recounts his fight for the freedom for his own people who were tortured by whites. Now let's begin with the lesson. Please open your textbook, children. 10th May dawned bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly beset by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre formed by the Union Buildings in Pretoria. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy, and now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. My dear children, now let's see what Nelson Mandela has written in his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom. It was 10th May, the day of oath, with a bright and shiny sun. Nelson Mandela was supposed to take oath as the first black president of South Africa. A large number of leaders all around from the world had gathered there to be the witness of the swearing-in ceremony of Nelson Mandela as the first black president. The inauguration ceremony took place in the big open building in Pretoria, where the first democratic non-racial government was to be installed. On that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Zenani. On the podium, Mr. de Klerk was first sworn in as second deputy president. Then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as first deputy president. When it was my turn, I pledged to obey and uphold the constitution and to devote myself to the well-being of the republic and its people. To the assembled guests and the watching world, I said, "Today, all of us do, by our presence here, confer glory and hope to newborn liberty. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. We, who were outlaws not so long ago, have today been given the rare privilege to be host to the nations of the world on our own soil. We thank all our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession with the people of our country of what is, after all, a common victory for justice, for peace, for human dignity. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa." Children, now let's see what are the events that took place during the swearing-in ceremony of Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was accompanied by his daughter Zenani. Mr. de Klerk was the first person who took oath as second deputy president, followed by Mr. Thabo Mbeki, who swore as the first deputy president of South Africa. Nelson Mandela swore as the first black president of South Africa. He pledged to obey and uphold the constitution and to devote himself to the well-being of the people. He also promised to make the nation free from poverty, deprivation, suffering, and all sorts of discrimination. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters, and troop carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union buildings. It was not only a display of pinpoint precision and military force, but a demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy, to the new government that had been freely and fairly elected. Only moments before, the highest generals of the South African Defence Force and Police, their chests bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. I was not unmindful of the fact that not so many years before they would not have saluted but arrested me. Finally, a chevron of Impala jets left a smoke trail of the black, red, green, blue, and gold of the new South African flag. The day was symbolized for me by the playing of our two national anthems and the vision of white singing Nkosi Sikelel' iAfrika and black singing Die Stem, the old anthem of the Republic. Although that day neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem they once despised, they would soon know the words by heart. Now let's understand what did the military generals do when Nelson Mandela took oath, how did their attitude change, and how they displayed their military power. When Mandela had taken oath, South African jets displayed the military power. It also showed the loyalty of military to democracy. The highest military generals saluted Nelson Mandela. He recounted that they would have arrested him many years before. And finally, a chevron of Impala jets left a smoke trail of the black, red, green, blue, and gold of the new South African flag. It was followed by the playing of two national anthems. The white sang Nkosi Sikelel', the old song, and the black sang Die Stem, the new song, which marked the end of the ceremony. Dear children, I hope you have understood what are the events that took place on the oath-taking ceremony of Nelson Mandela as the first black president on 10th May 1994. In the next video, let's see what Nelson Mandela has written further in his autobiography. I hope you have understood this first part. Happy learning.